I've ordered one of the pieces myself. You can now see a really ugly picture of me modelling it as best I possibly can.
Okay, hello. Let me know that you can hear me okay. It's Fran here. Today is a big old stream. Give me a yeehaw in the chat if you haven't already. I see that Gil already has. Excuse my voice, I've still got a little bit of a cold, but boy, have I been working hard on preparing this stream, and I'm so excited. All you guys want to talk about every single time I come live is Arteta. I'm trying to go off on match previews and talk to you guys about stats and things, and every question in the chat is Arteta this, Arteta that. So screw it. I thought, let's just throw the baby out with the bathwater, and we're going to do like 2 hours just talking about everything to do with Arteta. No holds barred, and I'm going to accept every single opinion, listen to all your opinions. It's going to be like an open forum. And yeah, all opinions are welcome, but I'm going to have a few disclaimers before we start, and that is be kind and respectful to everyone in the chat and keep it football related. No calling people names or telling them they have massive feet or anything like that. I don't know where that came from. Keep it football related, and as long as you've got an opinion and you can explain why you think that, then we're going to have a great time. And look, I'm very, very excited. Also, I've had enough of people spamming the chat, so if you're a spammer and you just keep putting random stuff, I will give you a timeout or block you. No more Mr. Nice Fran. We're talking business today, and it is the Arteta stream. But yeah, I'm not going to try and convince you of anything. Hopefully you guys aren't going to try and change. Actually, go on, try and change my mind. I don't mind. But yeah, my job isn't to come here and prove to you that Arteta's great or Arteta's horrible. I'm just going to lay out all of the facts and we'll talk about them together. So I'm very, very excited about it. But first of all, let's say hello to a few of you guys in the chat. Right. So as you can see, there is the chat cat. Let's switch it around so it's like there. Say howdy in the chat while I just adjust, because I've changed the size of the slides a little bit, so it's back to square again. Not that you guys care, but for today, because we've got some facts and figures. So yeah, here we go. So say howdy in the chat if you have not already, and I'll get to a few of you guys now. So let me hide the current comment. So chat greeting time. Niall says, wow, 1 subscriber away from 800 by the time you go live. At 10:30 on Monday night, you'll have 800. And yes, I believe that we are on 800 and it's massive news, but I'm predicting that a few people are going to unsubscribe because this show could be quite spicy. So I'm not going to celebrate having 800 yet until we've like nuked the show tonight. So I'll give it a day or two and then we can celebrate. But thank you for the support. Kyle from Gun Down saying have a great show, friend. Thank you, Kyle. Everyone subscribe to Kyle if you have not. Gil, what's up? Saying yeehaw. Celebrate good times. Come on. Any words for your adoring fans, Fran? Just thank you very much for watching the shows. Very soon we'll be at 1K and all of your loyalty will be rewarded with a big giveaway. But thank you so much for supporting me. Ravi, big up to you too, saying big up the legend Fran. BX Gunner made me laugh in the intro by saying, I bet that disclaimer was put up for AFC always. Yeah, basically abuse of any kind is not allowed. And he likes to come in and just throw names at everyone. So I'm not having that tonight. Good evening to you, BX. Ravi, what's up? Saying, come on, if you haven't subbed to this quality channel like Gwen Stefani, what are you waiting for? That's, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. But thank you very much, Kyle. BX Gunner really went for it with the yeehaw. Thank you. That's what I like to see. CMO Sports, big up, Fran. Thank you, Connor. I absolutely loved your show tonight. If you guys didn't, he's just done a show tonight with Stefan. Who's often on Tottenham away and is I love Stefan. I've been live with him once before. Oh my gosh, I had to do my makeup just before and it's all spreading everywhere. Oh my gosh. Anyway, yeah, he just did a great Arteta show on his channel and I was laughing so much because it was Jez versus Stefan, who are like equally opposite in their views against Arteta and also both equally like opinionated on it, and they were just telling each other to like shut up and stuff, and it was so funny. I loved it. So I love that show, Connor. Well done. You made my evening. Keep it football related. You're a good friend and you're a real one. Yes, you are a real one, Niall. You free on Saturday? I'm going to do an Arsenal Liverpool preview. I will let you know. I'm not sure yet, but I'll check WhatsApp later, Jordan. Big up Connor every time. Thank you for the howdies, guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Even that cat wants Arsenal. Right, let me move on. So AJ's in for this already, saying right here, the fact, 637 million, 26 signing, 4th full years, 1 trophy from a possible 16. Come on now, where is the line? And don't worry, I will be getting into all of that. So Ravi's got a question, which I will star for a bit later. Because first of all, we're going to be talking about what we're going to discuss today. And it's been a difficult one to try and think about how to approach this stream because there's just so much to talk about. And there's so like the opinions on either side of like whether you're Arteta in or Arteta out are so like angry. And yet there's just so many different ways you can approach this. So I wanted to try and approach it like from the most fact-based, like number-based way as possible. And then from there, kind of go into it. So I've tried to be really fair in this stream. And let me tell you, it was actually very hard going into this fair because as you guys know, I would probably call myself like an Arteta skeptic. I'm not fully like, get him out right now, but I'm not convinced that he's the guy to lead us back to glory. I think he's done a good job. I think he's a talented manager. It's just how long will it take for him to really get us over the line and winning trophies. So, but I wanted to try and challenge myself in this stream as well. So I've tried to come up with like lots of strengths that he's got against lots of weaknesses. But let me tell you how the show is going to go. So part one will be the nitty gritty, where we're just going to get into all of it. Kyle Walsh is in the chat. What's up? I love Kyle saying, hi, Fran. Hope you're good. I hope you're good too. It's really good to see you. I hope Arteta goes to Barcelona. Shocking we are on about giving this clown a new contract. I know. Tell me about it. So when I heard that news about Arteta going to Barcelona, initially I thought like, oh, that might be true. And I was shocked that I didn't actually care too much. I kind of thought like, oh, well, like on to the next manager. I hope he does well type thing. Whereas I saw online, like so many people were like melting down, saying they didn't want him to leave and stuff. So I don't know. I think I'm pretty like non-caring about this manager. I think he's okay. I think he's got some strengths. He definitely has things I really don't like as well. But when I heard that news, I thought like, oh, fair enough. Like Barcelona can have him. I won't have to be annoyed for a while about like random decisions he makes. And that kind of, I don't know, how did you guys feel hearing that he might actually leave? I think that was quite revealing to myself. I thought I would be more shocked if he did decide to leave, but I just thought like, oh, okay. And that made me realize like perhaps I'm not that like attached to this manager. So that was interesting, I thought, but there's no way Barcelona are interested in him. I don't see that at all. I think personally it's being pushed out from his agent or from his party or something like that. I don't think they'd be interested in him because he hasn't won a title yet. And all Barcelona is about is winning trophies or titles. He's won one FA Cup with a squad that he didn't even hire. I think if Barcelona were to ever be interested in him, he would have to prove that he had a proven track record, which he does not yet. Darren says, I was ecstatic, went straight to Insta. Yeah, I think it's a good, excuse me, judge on where you feel about like how that news affected you. I was kind of like, oh, all right. Rubbish, this move is happening. He's going to Barcelona. Didn't you know he's talented? Excuse me, I'm still not very well, guys, but hey, Lottie's here as well. Darren, you legend, says Kyle. Yeah, I know which side of the fence you guys are on, so I'll need you to, everyone, like back up what you believe and why throughout this stream. So the general discussion, first of all, sorry. We're going to review how he's done so far as if we were bringing Arteta into our office. We're Josh Kroenke, and we're just going to look at the numbers, look at his results, and like review his performance. This is his quarterly annual review. We're going to look at the numbers and see how he's doing. And then, like in a more general sense, I want to talk about his strengths. And I'm going to need you guys to think of some strengths. I know some of you aren't the most keen on him, but I've been trying really hard to think of some strengths. And I need you to, you don't even have to. And then his weaknesses, which will be probably easier to think about most of the time. And then we're going to review all of his ingoings and outgoings, and how much money he's paid for certain players, all of the players that have been sold, all of it. So getting really into the details, right? And then part two, we're going to talk all about this new contract thing, go through his press conference where he speaks about it, pros and cons of giving him a new contract at this point. And then finally, after all of that, we'll probably be online for a couple of hours. Yes. Connor says, not feeling too great, friend. Yes, I had to cancel my stream yesterday. I just had like whatever winter cold is going around at the moment. So I'm sorry if I sound like a dying frog. But I still wanted to talk about Arteta with you guys. And sorry I couldn't come live yesterday, but I'm just about alive today. And yeah, I just didn't want to wait. I've been really excited about this stream. So yes, part three, rounding up, we're going to do final thoughts and then a little Q&A and stuff like that. And I'll try and get through as many of your comments as possible. So yeah, that will be the general structure. And I hope you guys are excited. And also when we've done the stream, it'll probably be about 2 hours, as I said, if my voice holds out. I'll make bookmarks afterwards of like all the different topics that we go into. So yeah, before we get right into it though, I'll do another quick chat catch up. Right, so Darren is saying, evening, Kyle, top man. Anthony saying, big up, Fran, hope you're well. Arteta is the 5th highest paid manager in the Premier League with a wage of 8.5 million. Oh my gosh. Now this other contract came up, he could be on at least 13 million a season. Makes me want to cry. Don't cry. Yes, that will be the second half of the show, whether we talk we talk about whether he should actually get a new contract. But that is something that I haven't heard many people talking about, the fact that he'll actually be going up in terms of his wages, which doesn't seem justified at all. I completely agree about that. Gil's saying he's learning on the job, it's messed us up, so he needs to move on. Yeah, and a shocking thing that I hadn't actually considered before is that he only actually retired from playing in 2016, and he had 3 years working under Pep. I'd assumed that he'd gone somewhere else and worked under someone else, but no, he retired as a player in 2016 and then had 3 years being assistant coach to Pep and then got the Arsenal job. There was nothing in between. That was it. That was literally it. So, yeah, the whole decision to appoint him in the first place is just insane. And I don't, yeah. But anyway, Arteta doesn't rock the boat, more of a yes man, what the owner's like. Yep, completely agree. AFC always, hello. Fran, Arteta needs to know and understand how to utilise players for their strengths and how to switch up the style of play. Also learn more about game management and man management to players. That's a really good comment from you, AFC always, and I completely agree. We're going to talk about it in the strengths and weaknesses section, but a huge weakness that I also agree with is, yeah, man management, game management, and making the most out of his players. I completely agree. AJ says, before we get started, Fran, if you need to stop, please just stop. Your health always comes first. Thank you. I really appreciate that, but I've just got a cold. Gemma saying, hey, Fran, hope you feel better soon. Ravi saying, big up, Fran, for streaming still. Thank you. I'm glad you guys appreciate it. I love streaming, though. Fran, I give you a little number. 17 competitions in his management career and won one. Sackable offence straight away. I do actually agree that that is nowhere near good enough. So yeah, let's get into some of these numbers that we've been talking about. But first of all, I want to just take it back and ask you guys a couple of questions. So obviously, look, let me go here. So this is the kind of timeline of Arsenal's managerial appointments. And on this graph here, we've got from 2012, so the last 10 years basically, and you can see the last 5 or 6 years of Arsenal's career. But to be honest, so I'm just wondering whether to carry on because my throat is like killing me. I don't know whether I should just do this stream like in a day or two when I can actually speak normally. Give me a sec. I think I'll be okay. If my voice completely dies, then we'll just call it a day and I'll do it again at some point, like over the week. But anyway, so you can see here the last 10 years and then a big red line where Mikel arrives. So we're floating around fourth, third before Arsene got like booted out of the club. You guys all know what went on there. So summer 2018, Arsene Wenger leaves and Unai comes in. So he finished 6th and then he left and then Unai came in and actually finished 5th with the squad. And then halfway through the next season, Unai was sacked and Mikel arrived in December 2019. So, and from there, the first season, he was only in charge for half of the season, but we finished 8th, and then 8th again, then 5th, then 2nd, then 3rd. So I wanted to just take you guys back to what were your thoughts? Yeah, Ravi said, Fran, rest up and chill. The stream can wait, but do what you feel. I want to do the stream. I've been planning this for like 2 days, so I want to do the stream. Yeah, just excuse like my frog voice. So let's take it back to what were your thoughts at the beginning of Arteta's management, like when you found out that this was the bloke that they were going to go with. So for me, first of all, my first thought was like, who? I was expecting a more established manager, and me having only been really into my football maybe like 8 years. I wasn't there fully supporting Arsenal when Arteta was a player. So honestly, I did not know. It may sound super ignorant, but I didn't know who this guy was. And then I found out that he was assistant coach under Pep. And then, of course, you hear Pep and you think like, oh, okay, so if Pep backs him, then there must be something about him. Then we got this whole load of reports coming out about who Arteta was, well, about how promising he was as a coach and that he had so much potential and Pep believed in him and stuff. So my thoughts honestly were this might be a good direction for the club to go in, because Emery didn't work at all. So maybe bringing in someone who's going to like start things over, build something new could be a good thing. And I was like, right, let's give it a go. It was kind of advertised to us in a good way, and I felt like quite open about it. But I was thinking like, this guy has never managed before. He must be really, really talented for them to want to bring him in now. What did you guys think when you first heard that Arteta was going to be the guy that they gave the job to? As I said, he had 3 years being an assistant coach, had never, ever been a football manager before, and then he's given the top job at Arsenal. Ghost, hello, thanks for commenting, saying personally didn't want him at the time because he never had any managerial experience prior to getting this job. And I'm trying to be so fair here, this stream, but you're so right. It's like you have a big law firm and you appoint someone who's been like an assistant paralegal into the main role when they've just been like an assistant for 3 years. Suddenly they're CEO of the company. I don't think it's been spoken about like how much of an insane decision that was. I'm a big believer in the fact that as a manager, I mean, I don't blame Arteta for taking the job. Like it shows ambition and stuff, but I do blame the owners for offering it to someone who has no experience whatsoever, AJ says, why sack Emery for a guy that wasn't on his level and might never be? Colin also answering, saying, I was underwhelmed when he was made manager. I felt we needed more of a gun manager. Yeah, and I think if Arteta does go, I want a proven manager. I think Emery, right manager, perhaps wrong time. I think that was a doomed chalice. Whoever was going to take on the role just after Arsene, I think like nothing would have felt good enough. However, I think if Emery arguably were to take over now, he could do a really, really good job. I think it was just the wrong time for him. Yeah, and Gil echoes this, saying we should have given Unai more time. We just wanted to hit the ground running, and the first sign of trouble, he was out. Yeah, as I say, it was just a cursed chalice, right manager, wrong time. They believed in him to get our identity back, which he's done. Yeah, facts BX. And I'm going to go into that when we go into the strengths. And I think given that he's only had 3 years like coaching experience before coming into the top job at Arsenal, it's actually gone much better than I would have expected. Things are kind of falling off a little bit in the middle of this season, his 4th full season in charge. But things have actually gone better than I expected with someone with so little experience. So there's definitely something there. Let's see a few more comments about what you guys felt when he first got in. Taib just says, hi, Fran, Arteta out. Big up to you, Taib. Fran, 29 was the worst finisher in the Prem last season, in the top 5 with Nketiah and Jesus. Oh my goodness, I didn't realise that. So instead of signing a striker, you bring in the number 1 worst finisher, but even worse, he made 29 the highest earned. Yeah, I completely agree there. And I've got, later on in this stream, I've got screenshots of all of the transfers that Arteta has made in and out during his reign. If you King Arteta. So we'll talk about 29 there. Darren, big up, saying I was disappointed and thought nowhere near good enough, but being the kind-hearted soul, I thought I would give him a chance. And then I saw his first press conference where I thought he was a weak person. Yes, he does seem very much like a yes man, but hey, I've just seen there's 23 people viewing. That's like the most I've. Thank you. That's a new record. So please remember, subscribe and hit the like. Thank you for joining us on this spicy stream tonight. Darren, you are a very kind-hearted person. I'm very glad that you gave him a chance. 1 press conference and the chance was, your mind was made up, and I respect that about you, Darren. Kyle Wald saying, first thought was, oh, for F's sake, didn't want him, Fran, didn't want him. And I know, and you stuck to your guns. And I love that about you. So yeah, I was a bit more lenient, like no one's right or wrong here. I thought, give it a chance. Me probably as a younger person, I must have been like 16 at the time. wait, that's generous. I was like 18 or something at the time. I think, you know what? Like, I identify with this guy, young, ambitious, give him a chance, you know. And I had quite high hopes for it, but you do doubt whether he'll get the job done. So my next question is, you know, there's 2 dodgy seasons. As we can see here, he finishes 8th in 1920 and then 2021. I don't know about you guys, but at that time I was thinking this really isn't working. And was one of those people saying, maybe we've made a huge mistake here. Let's get rid of the guy. I won't even pretend. I was thinking, like, we need to find someone else. This is really not working. And the club did, in fact, stick with him. And then we came 5th, although we did miss out on top 4. And then 2nd last season. And during last season, when we were in that amazing run of form, you guys, did your thoughts change? So you guys that felt more negative about the appointment, how were you feeling about Arteta and his, like, appointment during last season when we were seeing that amazing football? I personally, like, I was pleasantly surprised, and I never fully last season was saying, like, I don't know, I've still always been like a skeptic, but I couldn't lie to myself and say, like, this isn't really good football. I was very impressed with the style of football. From the beginning of the season, I was at the Emirates when we won 5-0, beating Sevilla in pre-season, and the football was just electric. And you have to put some of that to the manager and his recruitment. I was really impressed at this point. And at one point, I did believe that we would win the league last season. Gil says, at least you're genuine. What's Rashford's excuse? Marcus on the Lashford, as Darren calls him. Colin says, I think we'll know at the end of this season what his ceiling is with us. But is it top 4 and maybe a Champions League quarter or semi enough? Yeah, top 4. I don't think top 4 is good enough. I think we have to come 2nd for me. So how are you guys feeling about him last season? AFC always saying, Fran, I will drive Arteta to Barcelona in my car. All I ask for is petrol money from you. I'm not giving you petrol money. Tyrell Gunner TV, hey, what's up? How are you? Everyone subscribe to Tyrell Gunner TV. This guy is really talented. Ghost says he's done a great job at getting us back to where we were during our time under Arsene, but I don't think he's the guy to deliver the big trophies for us. This is the real question, because you can see on the graph that we're falling off towards the end of Arsene, and then in some way Mikel arrives, we're at 8th, he stops the rot and builds us back up to where we were under Arsene. So the real question is, as you say, Ghost, he's managed to get us back up to, you know, challenging for the title, being in the top 4. Top 4's a trophy and all that. But is he the guy now to get us over the line and win the Prem, win the big trophies? This really is the question. And I think by the end of this season, we should know. AFC always says, Fran, we had the youngest squad back in 2009 and we reached the Champions League semi-final. No excuses from Arteta then. Yeah. Well, he wasn't in charge then, to be fair. I don't know. Emery doesn't bottle last season, in my honest view. He wins that title. Yeah, probably, to be fair. I agree with that. So how are you feeling last season towards Arteta? Let's see. Darren says, don't dare leave out our 3 successive losses in that season after the FA Cup. Which season was that, Darren? Remind me. But yeah, no, I won't leave anything out. I honestly don't have an agenda here. I'm very like, where I sit is like, he could be a really good manager one day, but I don't like, how long will it take for him to reach that standard? I don't see Arsenal as like a nursery where he should learn. I think if it's not this season or next season, then I'm sorry, like, you've done well. You've done better than I probably thought you would, like, see you later type thing. I'm not too like attached to this manager, but I'm just a bit like neutral towards him. I know that's kind of sitting on the fence and stuff. Through last season, don't throw cups in the bin, don't win the title. We all know what happened. Yeah. And Fran, I knew we were going to fall apart again last season. You would have seen me say we were not good enough to win it. If he stays for the next 5 years, we'll win nothing under him. I get that point of view. I personally think like we might win something under him. Like he's got, I'll go into it. I'm going to go into all his strengths and stuff, but it's not a guarantee. I don't know. So Darren says, I don't think you can give Arteta any credit last season. It was a freak. A lot of players were not interested because of the World Cup before Jan. T-Power, new name in the chat, just comes in with, I don't want a manager who eats meat off another man's sword. You came in, you made a statement, and I love it. Tyrell said, I said at the start of the season, if Arteta don't win anything, I think it's time for him to go. Yeah, I like that. I hear that. I said, if he doesn't win the Prem, then that's not good enough. But yeah, anyway, right, so one sec. I've got some lemon sip in here. Right, so anyway, I gave him credit last season. Cool, really good style of football. But then we get to it, we bottle it at the end of the season. People like Kyle were predicting that from like day one. I thought we could go on and win the title, and I was so frustrated, so annoyed. So I said this season we need to win it. And here we are halfway through the season, nowhere near performing as good as last season. There's still mathematically a chance that we can win it, but we have definitely fallen off. The tactics have changed. And I'm kind of left in a difficult situation with Arteta. I thought that we would carry on from where we were last season, you know, get a left eight that does left eight things, strengthen the defence, which we did, to be fair. But Kai Havertz is really the sticking point for me. I'm not calling him a scapegoat, but yeah, we didn't push on how I expected us to. And now, has my position changed? So compared to where we were last season and where I am now, I think it definitely has changed. I'm not feeling as positive like about the appointment. In the middle of last season, I was singing his praises. And here we are, and I don't think he's managed this. I think it really shocked him the way that the team fell off at the end of last season. And he's overcompensated. He's made the tactics too negative. He's messed with stuff that didn't need to be messed with, and shown kind of his lack of experience and that he doesn't really know how to handle different situations because he hasn't been in the job long enough. A manager who's been here longer would have had similar situations and would have known how to stay the course, keep the team playing well, but just fix a few things. I think he's shown his lack of experience by overcompensating and changing stuff that didn't need to be changed, making weird signings with Havertz. And now I am left really wondering if this is the guy for us or not. And I don't think it should be such a like Arteta in, Arteta out, like taboo conversation, like I'm this side, you're that side. No, it's just like a normal thing. Like, do we think Kai Havertz is good enough for this role? Do I think Arteta is a good enough manager? Do I think Ramsdale's a good enough keeper? No, for me, it's like the same kind of level. I want the best people in each position at the club. And is Mikel the best possible guy right now to be Arsenal manager? Debatable. It's really difficult, though. It's not black and white like it isn't. So let's get on to a couple more numbers. All right, let me actually, first of all, it's chat catch-up time. Right, I hate this challenge for the title. We bottled it with 8 games to go. This kind of a manager may go. Yes, I can hear you saying it, Kyle, as well. I don't think you can give any. Oh, I've already read that one out. I've read these ones out. Kyle says, other Kyle says 650 million spent, 365 million wasted. And out of the remaining 285 million, only 7 players were worth the money and standard of paying for. Timber is questionable due to the very small sample size. Yeah, we'll look at the numbers and transfers very soon because I've got a list of like all of them and review which ones are good or not. But I do agree that a lot of players have been brought in as like, this is why I'm struggling this season, right? A lot of players were brought in as like, in 1 or 2 years they're going to bang. So like Lokonga, Tavares, why do I always forget their names? Marquinhos, Fabio Vieira, all those guys, is in a year or two, they're going to be great. You know, they're young players, all part of the squad. And I was bought into that. But now I'm kind of seeing that these players aren't getting anywhere. They're going out on loan. They're getting sold. And it's like the illusion is kind of crumbling in front of my eyes. And these players are not what they were cracked up to be. And, you know, it's difficult. I am really questioning kind of the transfers and stuff. Gil saying, loved it last season. AJ said to T-Power, fully agree with that point about the meat stick, man. Gil saying, loved it last season. It should have been the shape of things to come, not an anomaly. You can't make players feel like it was a freak season just because nobody expected it. You make such a good point there. I was so annoyed. And I was so annoyed with the people saying, like, last season, you would have heard me say this. People were saying, like, you can't be annoyed that we bottled the league because nobody was expecting us to be in this position. I was hammering the whole season that expectations change. Just because you weren't expecting to be leading the 100-meter race, suddenly you find yourself in the lead in front of Usain Bolt. You then double down to win this race because you don't know when that opportunity is going to happen again. You don't trip over your own shoelaces and then say, oh, well, I didn't expect to be winning the race anyway. No, that is such a weak mentality. I completely agree. And it disappointed me a couple of weeks ago when Arteta came and said that last season it was a one-off and it was going to be really difficult to replicate those attacking numbers again. No, last season should be the standard, as you say, not an anomaly. So that's why I think I'm feeling so disillusioned this season, because I thought we would go on from last season and carry on and build and get better from there, at least maintain that level. But he's managed to like mess with things a little too much, and it looks like we've regressed. So yeah, I'm really unhappy about it. Thank you, Taib. Dr. Taib saying, Fran, you need a spiced tea for your cold. Lemon sip is cool too. Okay, I will. You said this the other day, so I'm going to have to try it. Kyle saying, Fran, please do me a favor. Please don't think we're going to win, hon. We're not winning under this management. Season is over already. I know you're just trying to save me the pain, but in my head, it's like, if we beat Liverpool, I'm doing all the maths, okay? If we beat Liverpool and they obviously lose, then we're 2 points behind them. Then they just have to lose one. We have to win one. Then we're ahead of them. So I know I'm doing mental gymnastics. But maybe I just need to. I know. You're right. I know. Anyway, let's carry on. So, look, by the numbers, Arteta's performance review. So, you guys are going to hate this. You're going to hate this. You are going to hate this. Please don't tune out, though. So, trying my best. I was trying to be fair here, okay? So, you know, I'm not very keen on this manager at the moment. But I thought I'm going to try and find some stats that show good things that he's done. So get ready to type and rebuff. But this was what I could find to kind of show that, like, he is doing a good job. This is in favour of Arteta, okay? Some numbers. So brace yourselves. And then after this, these are the bad numbers. So all about messing up all the trophies and things. But before that, benefit of the doubt, let's hear some good things about the guy. Right, so the Athletic tells us that. So this was written just a month or two ago before Arteta's 200th game. And it says, this will be Mikel Arteta's 200th match in charge of Arsenal in all competitions. Whatever the result, he's won more games in his first 200 in charge of the Gunners than any of the other 9 managers to reach the 200 mark with Arsenal. There are details of past managers and their achievements on the Arsenal History Society site. So what is not mentioned in the media is that Arteta is you guys are going to hate this. Don't blame me, though. Blame untold Arsenal. So it says, what is not mentioned in the media is that Arteta is getting ever closer to Wenger's record at Arsenal in terms of the percentage of games won under his management. If we exclude the short-term managers, which for the sake of choosing a number, we will say is managers who managed under 50 league games, and just take the figures up to the end of last season, the most successful manager in terms of the percentage of games won is Arsene Wenger at 57.25% of competitive games won. Second at the end of last season, I'm sure this is very different now, you know, was Mike Arteta with 180 games and a 57.22% percentage won. That's 103 games. You might be surprised to know that if we allowed Unai Emery into the list, he only managed 78 games. He would be third with a win rate of 55.13. Then comes Herbert Chapman on 49.64 percentage win rate. So that was quite surprising to me. Says, but if we include not just league games, but games in all competitions, This is Mikel Arteta's 200 match in charge of Arsenal, and the win percentage of the first 199 is 57.79, making him the most successful Arsenal manager of all time, who has managed over 100 games. In fact, he is the most successful manager who's managed over 25 games. Yeah, I already know what I'm going to say to this. He says, and yes, he's already won more of those games than any other manager at Arsenal by the time they reach the 200 mark. Okay, I would argue, though, that actually doesn't matter. He hasn't won trophies or the title, so this is an argument people might use. And I don't know, like, does that surprise you? Does this surprise you? So, for his first 200 games, he is second in terms of win percentage compared to Arsene Wenger. Like, what do you guys think about that? So yes, percentage of games won in their first 200 games of Arsenal, Mikel Arteta is second after Wenger. What do you think about that? Let me go back to a couple of your comments, though. So Darren says it was the 2021-2022 2-0 away to Brentford, 2-0 Chelsea home, 5-0 City away. Then Oba saved his job in the next home game at to Norwich 1-0. Oh, right. So 2021-2022 season, we were knocked out the FA Cup. And then we had these horrible 3 losses. Oba saved his job. But then, of course, yeah, he froze Oba out the squad and let him go on a free transfer. And then Nice then sold him, or was it Marseille then sold him for 18 mil, which is a whole different issue. But yeah, and that's another thing that kind of annoys me. I'm trying to defend Arteta a bit here before I go ham on him. But when we lose, we don't just lose 1 or 2 games, we lose in clumps. And it seems like this weird mentality thing where we can't just lose one and bounce back. If we're going down, like we're going down and it's a massive dip. Yeah, Ghost says all we needed to do was run it back and add quality depth in the areas we lacked, but I still have no idea what we did. Honestly, it's quite a remarkable accomplishment that he managed to spend 200 million and like mess up what was such a good system last year. You're totally right. Like, I don't know how he managed to do that. All you needed to do, Mikel, was get a left 8 and then improve the defense. You improved the defense, sure, but this whole Havertz thing, like, I have no idea why or how. AJ saying, why are some people saying that Tony's already done for the summer? And it's all rumours. I wouldn't believe it, but I hope that's the case. So let me see what you guys are saying about that. They're useless players, says Kyle. Fran, you would have heard me say plenty of times that a lot of this squad ain't good enough to win major trophies. See, I actually kind of disagree. I think a lot of our squad is good enough, but I don't think they're being managed well enough. I don't think the system's making the most out of them, especially this season. I think this squad, if you played them under like a top class manager, I think they could be winning everything. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. That injury is on Arteta. I feel sorry for the kid. I don't know. I don't know if I think the Timber injury is on Arteta. Like, it would be on the medical team because they cleared him to come back in the second half. I also feel really sorry for Timber though. FA Cup gone, Carabao Cup gone, Premier League and Champions League bye-bye, lol. Yeah, still in the Premier League and Champions League. What I really hope is that we can win one of them, but maybe you're just going to watch me like gradually lose hope over the course of this season. So get your popcorn. It's going to be a bumpy ride. So, right, here's some comments on these stats. All that proves is that we should have given Emery the £637 million instead of him. Yes, I would love to have seen what Emery would have done, but I just think no one was going to survive that next job after Arsene. Like, it was a cursed seat. It's just kind of whether it was the right idea to bring in someone so inexperienced after Emery. So how close is he to winning the trophy? Not even close. I agree with that. Winning matches in the title run are the most important. And you're so right. So it doesn't matter about the win percentage because what matters is where you're winning them. So yeah, if you're not winning them in the title run in, that's the most important. If you're, I don't know, because points are points, but yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting looking at that. If you're a lefty, what the hell is this, Alfie? Bro, that is so irrelevant. So as for Arteta, that win just shows that we have a squad that is better than most of England football. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, anyway, so that's my giving him the benefit of the doubt in the numbers, and then I thought you guys would probably enjoy this slide a little bit more, which is showing where, in terms of the numbers, he has fallen short. So if you think back, we're bringing Arteta into our office as Stan Kroenke, and it's his performance review, and these are the stats that we will be reading out to him. So. Right, in the Europa League in 2020, Arsenal get knocked out to Olympiacos, and it's 2-3 on aggregate. The FA Cup in 2020, Arsenal 2, Chelsea 1. So we actually win it in 2020. Woo! So you can see that's the only tick in all of these trophies on this page. So Premier League, we finished 43 points behind first in the year 1920. And Carabao Cup in 2020, it's a 1-4 defeat to Man City. FA Cup 2021, Southampton knock us out 1-0. The Europa League 2021, we lose 1-2 on aggregate to Villarreal. And then Premier League 2020-21, we finish 25 points behind first. So again, no trophy. FA Cup 22, Nottingham Forest 1, Arsenal 0. Carabao Cup 2022, Arsenal 0, Liverpool 2. Premier League 21-22, we finished 24 points behind first. This is pretty damning. One moment. Okay, so 2022 Carabao Cup, Arsenal 1, Brighton 3, we are knocked out. 2023 FA Cup, Man City 1, Arsenal 0, we're knocked out. English League, Europa League, 2023. Sorry, Arsenal 1, Sporting Lisbon 1, 3-3 aggregate, we're eliminated on pens. And then 22-23 Premier League, we finished 5 points behind first after bottling an 8-point lead in first. Whoever wrote this, that's funny. After leading the league for 93% of the season. Yes, so that's last season. And then Carabao Cup 2023, West Ham 3, Arsenal 1. FA Cup 24, Arsenal 0, Liverpool 2. That's 15 out of 16 trophies bottled. So I would like to know what like staunch Arsenal defenders, Arteta defenders have to say to like these numbers. And I haven't heard like anyone confront someone who's like really Arteta in with these numbers and somehow ask them to defend it, because I think Arteta is a talented manager, whatever, like I think he's got the potential to go on and win things, whether that's with Arsenal or not. But how can you defend this? Have you heard anyone who's really Arteta in try and defend this? Because I really can't think of anything that excuses this. It's not that we've just been like super unlucky in these competitions either. It has been the fact that the squad has very often been heavily rotated, almost as if the cups don't matter, and then we've been knocked out. But then Arteta has made comments about the fact that we can now focus on the league, and everyone who supports Arteta have been saying it's bigger fish to fry and stuff. But I don't know how really staunch, if you are one, if you love Arteta, like please tell me how you defend his performances in cups, because I think it's such a massive, massive problem. So if you can kind of try and say like why. So Arteta's in my office, right? I'm in charge. I say to him like, why shouldn't I sack you for this? I want to know what he would say. I'm sure the argument would be the fact that he hasn't been focusing on them. He's been trying to improve performances in the league and focusing on like rebuilding the squad and stuff. But I would say, well, if you can't focus on rebuilding the squad and improving your position in the league as well as cups, then like you're not really good enough. So yeah, let's see what you guys have got to say about that. AJ reckons we're losing to Porto. I don't know. I hope not. He's like the kid caught doing so metering that he can't answer for himself, but laughs and says he has nothing to say because he is a scam. I rephrase that. I don't get what you mean, Darren. Alfie says, my point's done now. Believe me, winning nothing with this clown manager. I think we would win something with him eventually, but I'm just not sure I'm willing to wait like another 4 years, 5 years for him to get the experience necessary to become like a world class manager or whatever. I don't think he should be doing his apprenticeship at Arsenal. I was trying to come into this stream and be really fair, but the more I think about it, like the more I'm kind of like, yeah, this isn't an apprenticeship. Push Bertie says 1 trophy out of a possible 16 and none in 3.5 years. Apparently that's deserving of a contract extension. Let's not. Villarreal was Emery knocking him out. Yeah, it was. That was so embarrassing. That was so embarrassing. Our team lacks confidence and direction. Porto will knock us out. Yeah, I do believe if we go a goal down or something, we don't have that same belief as last season where then we would fight back and win it. This season, everyone does seem a lot more insecure. Push Bertie soon 1 from 17 when Liverpool beat us on Sunday. Oh my gosh, no. So whenever you do show people the evidence, people just want to respond saying you're negative or unhappy with your life. Yeah, I think that's so unfair. And I really do think the way that on this, like people who are more like negative about Arteta and like the standards brigade or whatever, the only comeback that people have is like personal attacks. And I would rather just really talk about like why you believe that's okay. Like discuss the football with me. I think it's such a like weak form of argument to just like personally attack the person. Like, you know, it's ridiculous. It's childish behavior. It's like if someone says something you don't agree with at school, you just call them like a silly bum face. Like, no, talk about why you think that and the reasons. I completely agree. I think it's so out of order the way that some like more negative fans are treated by like more positive channels. Like I listen to certain podcasts where in the comments someone will challenge like the person who's podcasting, and then the person who's podcasting will literally like laugh at their comment and get everyone else to like laugh at how ridiculous that comment is and how negative that person is. I don't think that's okay at all. Like just discuss like that it shouldn't be so like, I know it's hard to explain. Mosin says, hi Fran, I can make this bottling list for any manager you want. I might have to take you up on that sometime soon. Lots of sheep in the Emirates loving Arteta, says Darren. I don't think anyone loves him anymore, goalie. Oh no. George saying Arteta needs to decipher the trophy back to Arsenal if he's to prove his worth. I completely agree, and welcome to the chat, my friend. I don't think I've seen your name before. Please do subscribe if you are new. So yeah, this was what we were talking about before. That besides that, you might argue Arteta has more wins for his first 200 games in charge of Arsenal than any other manager in the club's history. So yeah, there are definitely kind of two sides to the argument and stuff. And kind of to move on from those fun facts, we're gonna have a more general chat about like his strengths and weaknesses, because he does have strengths, but he definitely does have weaknesses, and you know, so let's get into that. Put your ideas in the chat for Arteta's strengths. And I know you will have a lot to say for his weaknesses, and so do I, but I wanted to try and challenge myself to maybe think from the board's point of view about why he's still here, what they really like about him. Ghost, what's up? Saying, I personally have no agenda against him, but I can't defend him for the amount of trophies he's bottled. I'm completely in the same boat as you. I have no agenda against him. I've got no agenda for him. I just doubt whether he's like the right guy, but then I would like him to be the right guy. I'm a very conflicted little human at the moment, honestly. So I was trying to think of, rather than just, hey, what's up, Max, saying, I love Arteta. Unfortunately, the online representation of fans is subject to people being trendy. Nice to hear from you in the chat. Yeah, and I think it's really cool that you like love Arteta, and I don't think you should be labeled as like a top Gooner because you really like him or whatever. I just think it's way too like you must be in this camp or the other camp. Whereas some people are kind of in the middle, like they like some stuff Arteta does, they really hate some other stuff. So yeah, we're going to talk about some of his strengths. And I managed to kind of come up with a list of them. I have been really doubting him recently, but I wanted to try and be fair. So I wrote down a list on this piece of paper of like Arteta, like good things that I like. And I'm going to read out some of them to you, okay? But I'm not trying to convince you guys of anything. This was more just like a challenge to myself, like think like, what's he actually done well? Like, let's be fair to the guy here before I just like roast him for 2 hours. So, good things that I do like his passion, attitude, and desire to win are massive. Like, I know you can say that that doesn't mean they'll win trophies and stuff, but it is genuinely like really nice to see someone on the touchline like living and breathing every kick of the game. I really like that, and I think the players like that, and it really resonates with the fans in the stadium. You got to love like his enthusiasm on the touchline. That is something I really like about him. So also you can say what he's done well is the squad overhaul, having all players on the same page and believing in the project. So every other week, although it looks a little messy from the outside, we hear all of the players saying like how awesome it is to be an Arsenal player, and the fact that they have a really good time at training and they're all really together, they're all on the same page. I know, again, that doesn't like relate to like winning trophies, but I think having a happy camp, having a training environment where everyone's on the same page, they all believe in the manager, it's a really, really good thing. I mean, it's way better than everyone coming in, hating where they're at. It means that other players are going to like tell their mates, like, you should come to Arsenal, it's really great here, have a really good time. Again, it doesn't mean that you're winning things, but if you're talking about the atmosphere of the training ground and stuff like that, that's a really good thing. And I love the fact that when he came into Arsenal, he did say, I want to like bring the fans and the club back together. I want to get everyone on the same page. I want to improve like the unity of the squad. And he did all of that really well. I also like that he's very obsessive. He's very detail oriented. He's obviously very ambitious as well. He wouldn't have taken the role on if he wasn't ambitious, if he didn't want to try and be among the best. You know, he often says how he wants to take the club back to being where it should be. He understands Arsenal, and with him the stadium was revamped, and he really understands like the history of Arsenal and stuff like that. That's what I think anyway. Max says, as a novice, he's living with two of the best managers in the world, and he's won a trophy already. I do agree. Like, I think he's overachieved like my expectations. I didn't think that he would be up there like challenging for the league title. It's just, I think a lot of people think like it's challenging enough. They really want like trophies, and I do too. And it's just whether Arteta can develop quickly enough to become a trophy-winning manager. Oh, my voice is going. Trophy-winning manager. Before like we lose all of these good players and stuff. Guys, everyone be nice to Max. I'm not sure the players like his behavior on the touchline. Yeah, exactly. And you could say that perhaps his behavior on the touchline, like when he angered Klopp, last year was it in the FA Cup? And then that it was in the league. So he was going all crazy on the touchline, and then it got Anfield all angry and Klopp all angry, and then that basically led to the atmosphere changing and us losing the game. So it is a double-edged sword, him being like super passionate. But thank you, Darren, for like listening to the points and stuff, even though I know like you're so against the guy. But I'm trying here. I'm trying. Okay. I like his attention to the fans. I like how he's constantly reminding the players to pay attention to the fans, go and clap them. I like his regard for the fans. I think the fans do like him because he knows how important the fans are. I'm scraping about here, but I'm trying. Also, something that he's done well, I think, is signing our big players early to new contracts. We're not letting big players run their contracts down. Ben White's on the verge of signing a new contract. Saliba's signed. Saka's signed. I think Martinelli's signed. We're securing these players early and making sure that they stay at the club longer. Alfie, oh my gosh, saying overachieved, 700 million spent, 1 FA Cup. Thanks for calling me a sheep, bro. 1 FA Cup, which Emery's team are behind closed doors because you sheep were scared of a cold. What? Makes sense, man. I'm not a sheep, bro. Okay, anyway, I also think that I like the fact a lot of these as well are like double-sided coins. I'm going to get onto the weaknesses as well. Don't worry. last season particularly, and the players that he's brought in, he's been signing based a lot on character profiles. So we're not like Manchester United where our players are going out clubbing every night. Before he signs people, he makes sure that they're guys that are humble, that want to work hard, they're not going out clubbing and stuff, like based on character profiles that are hardworking and want to do well and are moldable. So also with that, an identity, a style of play, especially last season, he's been able to put this style of play in, unlike someone like Ten Hag, who I agree is only in his second season. Yeah, there's no style of play. At least we've seen that he can implement a style of play. I'll read out some of those comments in a sec. And yeah, I do believe he is a manager that has the potential because of his attitude, the way he's constructed a team, being ruthless in removing players and stuff. Arguably, though, it's kind of like, has he replaced Aubameyang? But yeah, and his trajectory in the league has been positive, you know, although arguably he got us down to 8th, but then it's gone up to 2nd, like it's been an upward trajectory. This is just me trying to think of things that he's done, which is good. So yeah, I have seen also him learning from his mistakes, but I would argue sometimes that he learns a little bit too slowly. So for example, every time we played Man City over the last 3 years, he was, to start with, he insisted on like bringing our style of play to play at Man City. And then finally, when we played them earlier this year, I saw him switch that up and actually play defensively against City. But then it's taken him 3 years to learn that you can't play every single game the same style. So those are a few strengths I was thinking of. Like, let me know any more that you can think of in the chat. But yeah, there are definitely things that he has going for him. So let me see what you guys have to say about that. I know that section you guys won't like. Yeah, so George saying Arteta is good, enthusiastic, optimistic, needs to concede less matches. And I agree. Like, I think his attitude and energy is something that, like, I really like. I like how passionate he is and all of that stuff. But it's kind of like that isn't like. I think if I was managing Arsenal, I would be so passionate, I would be so enthusiastic, I would be so determined, all of these things. But it doesn't mean that I would necessarily win lots of matches. I don't think the way he's like, yeah, transformed the dressing room and things like that is really good. Max says, I've read that comment. Arteta needs to work hard on his team, sub the right skills, train more. Yeah, completely. Darren says, Max, hence why he needs to be sacked, as he's not better than them and never will be. Maybe, I don't know. It's tough to say never will be. Like, you don't know that he never will be. Actually, I don't know. Like, I can't, I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching there. I don't know. AJ says that FA Cup was almost 4 years ago. So with all due respect, how much longer can he go without winning for you, Max? And that is the question. Like, it's not that he won't win anything again, but it's like, how much longer do you want to wait for him to win something? Or do you gamble on bringing someone else in with more winning experience, and then perhaps you're guaranteed more regular winnings? You see, I'm just so like confused about all of it. I just don't know. I saw his passion on All or Nothing, says Gil. Believed in what he was doing, but his ego has been his downfall. Nobody is bigger than the club. Arsene thought he was and got sacked. You're completely right about his ego, like his arrogantness, like his stubbornness. When things aren't working, it seems to take him ages and ages and ages to change anything. When us fans have been saying for weeks, like, you need to play Emile Smith-Rowe, you need to rotate more, like, you need to drop Eddie Nketiah, you need to drop Kai Havertz. It takes him, he sticks with these things for weeks longer than we notice that it's an issue. So I do agree about that. Saka, Saliba and Odegaard has 2 years left on their contracts come this summer. Ooh, that's dangerous, you see. And that's what I mean about waiting so long, because I think these players have what it takes to win the league, definitely, maybe even the Champions League. And if we wait too long waiting for Arteta to learn how to be a top-class manager, we're going to lose these players and we're going to be left like with nothing. And then you're going to have to bring in a new manager to restart a whole new project. Whereas arguably, if you got rid of Arteta, say, this summer and bring in a top-class manager, then you'll still have these players, Saka, Saliba, Odegaard. to then go ahead and potentially win like a title next season, for example. So it's, yeah, I don't know. Hugo, big up, says, this has been a great stream, goalie. Have to go. Arteta out. See you after the Forest loss. See you later, Darren. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for saying it's a good stream as well. Honestly, I've been so stressed about how to approach this whole topic. So we're just going to keep going and I'm just going to waffle. Big up, Fran the Night Owl. Big up to you too, Mr. B. Big up. There were no fans in the stadium, remember, during the FA Cup win. Yeah, true. Hey, Fran, you freak Saturday. Yeah, take care, Darren. Thank you so much. Fran, who would you want to be our next manager after Arteta? I don't want to answer that yet without like really looking into the options, Tyrell. I don't want to just say a name when I haven't like fully looked into it. I like to kind of be thorough. So I'll come back to you later with that. So Max says, unfortunately, he is subject to angst-ridden trolls like Mr. Gunner, who have influenced people to such a degree that they don't even know how to celebrate a 5-0 win. Be yourselves, back your team. It's okay. I actually agree with this to some extent, Max. People are so like opposed on this. Like, if you're Arteta out, then anything that anyone says at all positive about the manager, suddenly it's like, oh, you're a top gooner, like you're making excuses, blah, 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 blah. I get that a lot, right? When in fact, I'm just saying like he has some good stuff about him and he has like some bad stuff as well. But yeah, you're right. It's okay in a 5-0 win. I was getting this when I was celebrating the 5-0 win. I was saying like, I was saying it's okay for me to celebrate this 5-0 win, but still be unhappy overall with the season. Like it's everyone is so black and white online when in fact there's a whole lot of grey in the middle where I tend to kind of live. So yeah, Rashford, big up Mr. B, needs to borrow more of Wenger, as in like get more advice from Wenger. Yeah. Tyrell Gunner saying Ten Hag is a joke of a manager. Yeah, I mean, Arteta is doing way better than Ten Hag in my opinion. Max Lee is another fan. Is within his right to do. As another fan is within his right. Lee is another fan within his right to do so. Yeah. Yeah, Lee is within his right, like to feel how he does, you know. Alfie says is ruthless at removing our blessed players and keeping stuff like Elneny, Cedric, Eddie, Tommy. Your points are all well observed. Thank you very much, Max. I'm trying to be as fair as possible, like to Arteta, because I'm not very happy with him at the moment, but I am trying to be fair. George says, wow, if it's not Arteta at Gunners' helm, it could only be a former Gunners, other players like Fabregas or Henry, who's clearly eyeing the spot at Emirates. Oh, that would be awesome if Henry was in charge. But I don't think any manager has to be an ex-player. Do you think that? I think it should be the best guy for the job, and they don't necessarily have to have played at Arsenal or like worked for Arsenal before. It should just be whoever's the best manager for the job. Max says it's okay to support your team, people. Don't feel like you have to impress oppositions by dissing your team and observing our progress. It's okay to be us. I really like that, Max. I'm glad to have you in the chat tonight. Yeah, I really like your opinions. Anyway, you are kind of okay, to be honest. You let people say what they like. I believe in free speech, so I like you. Oh my God, thanks so much, Alfie. Yeah, like every opinion's welcome here, you know. I actually appreciate that from you, because I know you totally disagree with quite a lot of the stuff that I say. But I'm glad you can see that like everyone can have a different opinion here, you know. Oh, big up. When you're put in novice, it's obvious you're playing a long game. Deal with it. Max coming out with the fighting talk. Right, I'm really enjoying like this chat in all this different stuff. Yeah, anyway, so let's go on to a few of the weaknesses. Mr. B saying your throat doesn't sound great, Fran. Get some sleep. Rest your voice, my friend. Thank you. I'm trying my best. I want to do the Arteta stream though. Oh yeah, on that stuff, like people saying like what Arteta does well. We got some quotes here. So this was Arsene Wenger saying, I would say you need to identify the values of the club, and I personally think that Mikel Arteta was very conscious of the values of the club because he's been educated as well at Arsenal. He was captain of my teams and he wanted to restore values of the club, Arsene Wenger told Sky Sports. Overall, I think he's done that well. After that, you need to create a belief and a sense of belonging, that you belong to something special, something that is bigger than you, that you want to serve. On that front, he's done well. I'm still in touch with them, and overall, I believe they're going the right way. Arsenal is a special club and has special values, a good balance between tradition and forward thinking. They do that well again now. So Arsene Wenger also did praise the way that he's brought like the identity back to the club. And even if the results on the pitch aren't there, I don't think you can deny that the identity and stuff was brought back by Arteta, and he's done really well in that sense. David Seaman, obviously Arsenal legend, also says he played for the club, he captained the club, so he knows how it works. Seaman told the Chronicles of a Gooner podcast. The way he dealt with Aubameyang, it was the George Graham way, it was the Arsenal way. Arsene Wenger would have done exactly the same thing. So, like footballing legends do agree that Arteta's done some really good things at the club, and I just wanted to put those quotes in there to kind of back up that side of things. And I do think two things can be true. You can say that he's done some stuff well. Like I would agree that bringing the identity back and the unity within the dressing room and all that stuff, he's done really well. But I can also agree that he's like not doing well enough in terms of actually achieving like measurable trophy results and stuff. Like both things can be true, you know. Like this stuff he's done well, but this stuff he's doing really badly in. And it's just whether that stuff he's doing badly in is enough to want like tip you over the edge to say like, right, I've had enough of this guy. Oh yeah, Fabregas also was talking about like all the good stuff he's done. So this was quite interesting actually. So Fabregas said, I was lucky enough to be at the training ground recently. Everything has changed so much. It feels like the manager of the training ground is 95% Mikel, who has changed the whole thing. The perception of the club has changed. There are positive messages around the training ground, much bigger facilities, better equipment, the pitches, you name it. At the entrance, they have a symbol of an empty Premier League. He wants to show the message. We need to put it in there. Every day the players see the Premier League, but just the symbol, like an inspiration every day. He's changed the mentality of the club. So yeah, he has done lots of really, really good stuff. And I've tried to be fair, blah, 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 blah. Question for you, Fran. Can you name one player Arteta has actually improved? Yes. Gabriel Magalhaes, Martin Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, at least until this season. This season, they've kind of stagnated. Yeah, he's improved lots of players. This whole idea that he hasn't improved any players is kind of a bit unfair, I think. But there are certainly lots of players that have not improved, especially all of the ones that are going out on loan and stuff like that. We turned a corner in the game against Palace. Tactically, we turned a corner and approached the game differently. Did anyone notice? I did actually notice that he's mixed things up a bit and was allowing kind of more counter-attacking style attacks rather than this death by 1,000 passes thing. So I do agree, and I hope to see a bit more of that flexibility moving forward. But I'm enjoying your comments tonight, Max. Like, please come back. I never want another ex-player in the manager job after Arteta. Yeah, I would kind of agree with that. I think we're blah, blah, blah. The women's team coach could sub or replace Arteta. Yeah, Nicholas Jove. Oh, no, that's the set piece coach. Remind me who's the women's team coach. That's really bad. I don't know that. Coach. Oh yeah, Jonas Eideval. He is doing really, really well, to be fair. Every time I see the women's scores, it's like 3-0 win, 5-0 win. So yeah, I agree. Jordan says I'm not happy. I imagine you're not happy. Klopp's leaving. I'm sorry. 20 years, no league title. 31 years, no League Cup. 30 years, no trophy in European football. 5 years, no FA Cup. Yeah, and that is not good enough at all. It just needs to keep the club afloat at the helm. Top 2 to 4 is pretty good enough for me for the time being. Arsenal's a shining star. That is fair enough. Fair enough that you think like top 2 to top 4 is good enough. Personally, for me, like winning, I want to win. And I come at this from like, I suppose, having played sports. Like I'm the most competitive person ever in the world. Like I've done every sport ever growing up, and nothing, like if I came second, if I came third, I would just be so disappointed. And the same in like schoolwork. Like if I didn't get the best scores in the class, then I would think I was like a failure or whatever. Probably too harsh on myself, but that's the same attitude that I have towards Arsenal. I think we need to win or nothing at all or nothing, as they say. So look, my voice is starting to fail me a little bit, but I wanted to just go through some of the main weaknesses. I feel like I've been fair in saying the stuff that he's been really good at, and now this is where I could like talk for another hour. So Arteta's main weaknesses for me, tactics this season I think have been way too altered. They didn't need to be, and for me that shows his lack of experience and how naive he's been. And you guys go ham in the chat with the weaknesses if you like. Very happy with the team and club so far. Arteta's a miracle. I wish I had that optimism, to be fair, George. Like, don't change your opinion as well. Like, you don't have to. Like, it's okay that you feel that way too. Like, I know a lot of people, especially in this chat, will try and tell George that he shouldn't feel that way. But if George wants to be happy with what's going on, then all the more credit to you. Like, I sometimes wish I could just be like happy all the time. But we shouldn't have appointed a novice in the first place. I thought he'd bring a new kind of freshness after working with Pep, but it's not working and now looks set to drag on. Yeah. In fact, let's just, we've kind of gone over the weaknesses quite a lot. Here are some of the transfers under Arteta, but oh my gosh, this stream is good. Where is it? So yeah, the new contract. Let's talk about the new contract really quickly. So we shouldn't have appointed a novice in the first place. I thought he'd bring a new kind of freshness after working with Pep, but it's not working and now looks set to drag on. So you're saying it now looks set to drag on, and that to me is kind of referencing the pros and cons of the new contract, which is, you know, rumored to be happening at the moment. And I've written a list of pros and cons, right? So negative things about getting a new contract now. I would say there's too much job security for not having achieved. Guys, I really want to carry on, but my voice is like literally killing me. And I might have to cut this stream early because I can just barely talk. So I actually think we've got like a whole, this will be part 1 of the Arteta stream, and I need to go. I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna have to cut the stream early. This will have been part 1 of the Arteta stream, and tomorrow after the match or Wednesday, I'm going to carry on and do part 2 because I really want to like properly talk about all this, but I'm just worried that I can barely talk at the moment. So I'm so sorry, but I'm going to end the stream and we'll do part 2 over the next couple of days. Because my throat is killing me. So I'm super sorry. I'm so sorry. And I just wanted to thank you guys for like being so good and saying all your different opinions in the chat, and I'm loving reading them out, but I just want to do it justice where I can fully talk properly. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much, Max. I enjoyed having you here too. Fran, it's okay. Fran, please just stop. Okay, so I'm gonna stop. But thank you so much. We'll do part 2 in another couple of days. Have a really great night. I'm so sorry I had to cut the stream short. But yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow after the match, and we'll carry on this conversation soon, okay? Because there's so much to get into. Like, I've barely done a core of what I was going to get through. So get better, Fran. Come back refreshed. You've done great. Thanks for your passion and commitment. Are you watching Marcus? What's Marcus doing? I'll watch Marcus. Saying, Fran, it's okay. Fran, please just stop. Okay, thank you so much, guys, for understanding. I don't want to carry on when I'm not feeling great. So thank you so much, guys. Look, I'll see you tomorrow after the game, and we'll carry on this stream another time. But thank you so much, and good night, everybody. Good night. Thank you so much again, and see you later. Bye.